Istanbul providing the dramatic backdrop for round 2 of the Intercontinental Rally Challenge. Blue skies, a stiff breeze and an enthusiastic welcome, and the small matter of 19 stages to contend with. Everyone on their marks for a classic event full of drama and intrigue. The second of 9 rounds on this year's calendar, which includes Africa, Asia, Europe and the Far East. It all ends in China in November. The Intercontinental Rally Challenge started in Kenya at the beginning of March with the classic Safari Rally. Andrea Navarra, driving an Abarth Grande Punto, won the event, but not without difficulty. On the last day, he suffered a puncture and then a gearbox problem. And at the end of the rally, the Japanese Hideki Miyoshi, driving a Mitsubishi Evo 9 Group N, was running him close. So Navarra took the 10 points, a really good start considering his main rivals for the championship didn't go to Kenya. So what would he do with the cushion when it came to round 2 in Turkey? So a tight battle expected on the gravel and fast roads around Istanbul for the second round of the Intercontinental Challenge. Andrea Navarra, driving an Abarth Grande Punte, winner of the opening event in Kenya, will fight for the first time for the former European rally champions like Italian Renato Travaglia and the Frenchman Simon Jean-Joseph, and the 2 debuting Peugeot 207s also here. Spaniard Enrique Ojeda can't be counted out, and the Frenchman Nicolas Vuillas as well. And watch out for the local driver Volkan Izik and the 2 Hondas of Luca Berti and Danny Sola. Well, leading them off was the Kenya winner, Andrea Navarra. Well, he had to sweep the stages for those that followed, and his times suffered as a result. He said the stages remained dirty for the second run through. The field of entrants were light cars and they didn't remove all the stones. He drifted or fell down to 6th spot. So a tough start for the man who had something of a cushion when he started this one. The manufacturers are starting to come in, the big names as well, and he knew that his card was marked. Stunning scenery, the dust being kicked up on what was to turn out to be a rather slick surface. A lot of attention being generated by Peugeot and the brand new 207 S2000. After Abarth, Peugeot is the second main manufacturer to line up an S2000 in the IOC. Others will follow. Peugeot Spain is supporting a couple of vehicles. There's one by Vincent Vuillas and the other by Enrique Ojeda, who's here now. He says the car's very smooth, easy to drive. It's really a great job that's been done by Peugeot, and we just can't wait. Biggest rival, of course, is Fiat. We hope to stay fighting all season. Well, 4-wheel drive equipped with a 2-litre aspirated engine. Kind of cars are compromised between Group N and WRC cars and are expected to battle for the very top positions with the Abarth S2000s. Well, Nico Vuillas on the number 10. What a great start he had. Real tight battle with Anton Alain, son of Marco, who was leading. Vuillas second in special stage 1 and 2, won special stage 3 and went to the head until, sadly for him, he was to pick up a puncture. So cruel indeed. The man who was leading the rally in the early days of leg 1, all of a sudden he was falling down the order. A crevé. And you can hear the response. Nightmare for the Peugeot 207. Was the rally over? In special stage 6, he lost 53 seconds on the leader. Limped back. Spared us a few words as well. Glum faces at Peugeot. Time to redouble their efforts, their resources, start focusing on the fight back. Nico spoke to us.
So, Nicola, a great start, but then this puncture, what happened?
Yeah, just rocks on the road. On this stage there is many rocks, and it was a second lapse, and road is a bit destroyed, so a little bit unlucky, but it's a race, and the race is still long, so we will try to...
Do you regret? Were you pushing too hard, maybe?
I don't think I pushed too hard. Everybody ride at the same level. It's 1 second, in front, ahead or back. So I didn't push too hard, I think, but sometimes it happens. So we will see.
Thank you very much.
Difficult indeed. How hard do you push? Well, the man who'd taken over on top was Anton Alain. Peugeot licking their wounds. They will be back to do battle shortly. Quick work as ever, and the pressure on the mechanics to get things done. So the man out front, well, he was on board an Abarth Grande Punte. What else? A teammate of Andrea Navarra, a great team. They were ready.
I've been driving for I think 3 or 4 years now. I started at 2003 and I did my first rally when I was 20 years old, so quite late.
Brother Mark, who follows him closely, well known, full of knowledge, passes on all the benefit of his experience to his son.
He gives me advices and he's a big help, but I think everybody has to learn drive by themselves, but for sure he has been a big help for me.
The big help and the main advice was just take it easy. Ease off a little bit, save the car, bring it home. Look what happened to Weers, he kept saying. Well, he did take it easy. He was the new leader, but his cushion started to ebb just a little bit. Had a great run of results, though, nonetheless. Alan won more specials than Weers, but only took the rally lead after that puncture for Weers on special stage 6. Weers wasn't deterred, but would Anton Alain have enough underneath him by the end? Nice and relaxed, nursing the car, keeping his lead. Was he doing everything right? Find out after the break.
Ever since I was a boy, I've loved Formula One. Today, I lead the DHL team that brings Formula One to the world. We deliver dozens of cars and thousands of spare parts to racetracks on 4 continents. The hours are long, the deadlines are short, and the pace is relentless. In other words, it's the best job in the world.
At DHL, we have a passion for what we do, and for what you do, too.
Kommen Sie noch direkter ans Ziel. SkyTeam, caring more about you.
Take control of the IRC with BF Goodrich tires.
Take control.
Welcome back to the Intercontinental Rally Challenge. Well, the mist was hanging. It was soon burnt off, and the stages were being ripped up again for leg 2. Engaged with Peugeot of Spain for the whole of the IRC season. Enrique Garcia Ojeda, winner of the opening Super Special in the stadium. Second overall at the end of leg 1, with a 17-second gap between himself and the leader. Steady start early on and looked to be a challenger. Minor punctures, though, became a problem. Well, he almost hit a cow. Wildlife was out there. Just made it. Good man. Good steering. Well, he left the service park a little bit late, picked himself up a 10-second penalty due to a water leak. They don't miss much, those boys. Volkan Izik, first Turkish driver to score points in the WRC. He ran well here back in 98, 10th overall in the WRC. Turkish champion in 95 and 03, and in his hands, an Abarth Grande Punto. He was running brilliantly. Suffered a puncture into leg one. Nonetheless, managed to finish the opening day third overall with a 29.2 second delay on the leader. Renato Travaglia, Mitsubishi Evo 9 in his hands. Setup issues for the 2 times European champion. Well, he changed the setup and things just got a little bit worse. He was quick on the twisty sections, but on the straights, he was just a little bit down on the S2000 class. Had a little off on the roads during the penultimate stage of leg one, lost 15 seconds and carried that wound into day 2. Here is Travaglia at service as Isik was still powering it down. It was all busy out there, most certainly, and the Mitsubishis, a ubiquitous part, it seems, of club racing, and in the hands of the likes of Roberto Travaglia, they were always going to be the chasers in this one. Well, Renato Travaglia certainly knows how to handle this vehicle, and he was wringing the best out of it. He was the best placed of all the Group N cars and was flying on occasion, as you can see. Almost getting it a little bit wrong, battling to hold on the slick surface. And he said that setup problem that he had early on, wondering why on earth they'd changed anything. Well, Citroën here as well. The C2 is in action, but only 2-wheel drive. Tarmac experience of Simon Jean-Joseph here in Turkey didn't count for much when it came to the slick stuff. We suffered in the morning because of setup difficulties as well on the stony terrain. Mostly smooth out there, and he'd set for gravel. Changed the setting after service C, and things improved dramatically. Well, 2-wheel drive, they were suffering on the twisty bits. Fine when it came to flat out. Jean-Joseph sparing us a few words about his experiences.
This morning you were not really happy of the setting. How things went this afternoon?
Yeah, that's true, because the stage are very nice, and the car was not going very well this morning. That's why I was not so happy. But we improved a lot the car this afternoon with the team, and we really enjoyed this fantastic stage very fast. So yeah, things is going better and better, and we really enjoy it this afternoon.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow for us will be the same challenge. You know, we are fighting with nobody, because with the 2-wheel drive it's not so easy. But we enjoy it, because the road, like I say, are so nice that it's a real pleasure to drive this C2 on this fantastic road here in Turkey.
Thank you very much.
Well, top 2-wheel drive at an 8th place finish was beckoning Jean-Joseph in the Citroën C2 S1600 class. 2-wheel drive on the slippy surface around the corners, not a big help. So, as he said, just out there to enjoy life. Service Park was a busy place to be indeed, and Eurosport went live throughout the weekend, as we will do throughout all of the Intercontinental Rally Challenge, keeping you up to date.
It's quite tight, but now you built up a little gap. Are you controlling the situation?
Well, yeah, but I thought I was, but when I backed up a bit, guys behind me took quite a lot of my advantage away from me. So tomorrow I really need to try if I want to win.
Did you speak a bit to your father?
Yeah, always something small.
What did he say?
So many things that I can't even remember.
Okay, thank you very much. Good luck.
Advice overload for Anton Allan, the rally leader. Well, he never finished the last 5 stages of that day higher than 3rd, but he still maintained the lead. But everyone was closing, and look at Vuillaz in 4th place. He'd reduced from 50-odd seconds to just 29. So the IRC was created to reduce the costs of rallying. Tyres represent the biggest of costs in the discipline. On the WRC, 250 tyres per car per event can be used. In the IRC, the numbers are much lighter. Michelin Director of Competition and Activities, Frédéric-Henri Bivot, explains.
Aujourd'hui, sur un rallye qui dure 2 jours.
Well, today in a two-day rally, we use between 25 and 30 tyres per car, depending on the ground conditions, and this is much less than we used to have in the past. The goal is to have some kind of tyre that's versatile and a wide range of conditions that it can accept. Different weather, different ground conditions, that sort of thing. It reduces the costs. Well, Michelin, BF, Goodrich, Pirelli and Yokohama, all here taking part. It's all part of the effort. We'll be back with more after this break.
The World Touring Cars sweep into Spain at the Valencia circuit. It's round 3 of the championship, and who can overtake BMW? The other manufacturers need to produce something fast. The World Touring Car Championship from Valencia, Sunday at 1500, live on Eurosport.
Canon, taking fans beyond the pit wall. Speedy entertainment, presented by Courtyard by Marriott Hotels.
Team kommen Sie noch direkter ans Ziel. SkyTeam, caring more about you.
If you think you've seen every shade of blue, every shade of orange, every shade of
Mehr Live-Fußball geht nicht.
Take control of the IRC with BF Goodrich tyres.
Well, things were going suddenly very wrong for Anton Alain on the final day. A puncture in the last stage. He stopped to change that tyre. The cushion that he'd let slide earlier on by not pushing too hard under Dad's advice really came back to bite him. Watch those crests. Yes, a healthy driver certainly, but off the podium by the rally's end. It was all parts, the reason that is, of everyone else's efforts charging him down. He'll be pushing an awful lot harder the next time he finds himself at the head of the field. The Peugeot 207 of Nicolas Vuillas, unbelievable. Well, the car developed by Gilles Panizzi, got a Group N second place in Portugal. His first outing on the Intercontinental Rally Challenge, and in the hands of Vuillas, despite his setbacks earlier on, he was just flying. Wins on special stages 11, 12, 14, 15. He wasn't holding back at all, and stage by stage he ate into Alain's advantage, passed him by and took the lead of the rally. Tremendous effort, great skills. We salute him. So ill fortune for Vuillas early on in the rally. Good that his ill fortune came early on and not a little bit later. Poor old Anton Alain. A loose brake pipe didn't help his cause on special stage 17. We spoke to him a little before.
A bit of time in SS12 and 15. What happened?
Nothing special happened in the first stage. There was lots of loose gravel in the road, and we were first car in the road, so that was big minus for us. But in the fourth stage, I don't know where I lost so many time, but now we have to try and take it back.
Now this second loop, pushing hard or not?
Well, of course you have to try to push hard, otherwise the other guys will pass you, but still I try to finish for sure.
Very much, good luck.
Well, that was the last we spoke to him, and on special stage 17, a loose brake pipe tumbled him down the order, and he fell further down, further and further, and indeed off the podium into 4th spot. All credit, though, to those who were charging him down behind. They never gave up. The Abarth Grandi Punto of Anton Allen, matched by that of Volkan Isic. Local driver and local knowledge. Maybe that's why he won special stages 13, 17 and 18. Well, Volkan was a solid second until the final stage, special stage 19, and then Abarth's luck ran out again. On the last stage, he reached the service park, but unfortunately it was under tow, and he was to finish in 6th place. Yes, a puncture on the last stage. Drawn in, not how he would have wanted. Isic, absolutely brilliant throughout the rally. He'll be back, that's for sure. An unfamiliar sight of an Abarth Grandi Punto going that slow. The number 1, yes, the man who won in Kenya, Andrea Navarra. Well, he was worried for the whole of the second leg because the engine seemed to be having some trouble, especially at the start during the road section. No problems during the stages, however, and he finished 2nd on the rally after a remarkable push. Found his rhythm finally. A good closing, super specials. Twice finished 2nd, 1-2 on the final day, and got himself the runners-up spot. And guess what? Also, top of the standings, he held on to. Superb. Well, the Peugeot 207 S2000 of Enrique Garcia, he broke a pin on special stage 15 that was securing the handbrake, so his turning wasn't being helped. Wasn't possible to repair it, but he still kept the charge up, did Ojeda, and finished on the podium with a fantastic 3rd spot. The never say die attitude. The Peugeot crew behind you, it combined for that podium position. Great effort throughout the entire rally. Bore fruit. Renato Travaglia in the Mitsubishi Evo, an amazing 5th place. Turbo pressure problems over the last couple of stages. Who knows what might have happened if that hadn't been his problem. Solid 4th and 5ths on most of the specials. 5th place, and credit to him in the end. Thomas Šopik, the pole, finishing 7th place, proving that the Mitsubishi Lancer, the evolution continues. An ever-presence, it seems, on club level and higher. And always thrilling to look at. Michael Solovov, also of Poland, also on a Lancer Evo 9. Well, he was running very well. In fact, he was ahead of Šopik. The 2 wheels were off his wagon while he was running 7th overall. And unfortunately, he wasn't to finish this one. No injuries, thankfully, to he or his co-driver. What about Jean-Joseph, the asphalt specialist in the Citroën C2? Only 2-wheel drive. Reckon he was losing around about 2 seconds per kilometre on the twisty stuff. Brilliant drive for him. Not so comfortable, though, of course, for his co-driver. It was rough out there. Finished 8th in that 2-wheel drive machine. And the Honda Civic Type R of Dani Sola. Debut for the Honda Civic. There'll be other debuts coming through. Volkswagen will be entertaining us in Ypres for round 3. Sola, oil cooler problems for him. Smoke filling the car, he had to stop. Luca Berti finished 21st overall. Sad end to the rally for Dani Sola's machine, but they and Honda will be back, that's for sure. Berti said he could take an awful lot from this rally. They learnt a lot. It's a long process. Honda Civic Type R and the entire crew, they'll be back, and you can be sure they'll be battling for positions. When you see the way Luca Berti was handling things, Looked pretty good. Drove the car for the first time in the Miglia Rally, and he'll be taking part in the whole of the Intercontinental Rally Challenge for 2007. Well, we caught up with them and asked them about their problems, their trials and tribulations so early on. They were smiling. 21st position. And look at he says, well, the Honda VTEC technology of our engines gives us a constant level of torque, and that's our real strength. And we've just got to work on the setup of the car, just find out what we've missed here, where the lack of traction is, etc. And considering it's a two-wheel drive car, challenging with four-wheelers, and I think we've done rather well.
Della vettura che devono essere sgrossati e messi a punto a dovere, e poi forse la trazione al momento è quello che più ci manca, essendo una due ruote motrice e pagando rispetto a tutte le altre quattro ruote motrici uno scotto non piccolo.
They'll be back, and so will the fans next year. They've loved it this year, and we've been thrilled ourselves. The heli shots have really given us a great dimension, and Eurosport, as we said, have been live throughout. Live as well to witness Nicolas Vuillet's tremendous push back from adversity, the Peugeot 207 S2000. He never gave up. The whole team never gave up. And leg two wins in specials 11, 12, 14 and 15 brought him such a well-earned victory. It was amazing. Constant pushing right on the edge, almost risking everything. Finally, the road worked out for him, and he came in for a well-earned victory on round two of the Intercontinental Rally Challenge. Well done, Nico, and the rest of the Peugeot 207 outfit. Super, super run. Nicolas Vuillet and Nicolas Clangier, the Peugeot 207, co-driver and driver, united in happiness. Great.
Nicola, this morning it seemed mission impossible, and now at the end it was almost easy.
Yeah, it was. We get back the luck a little bit, and we ride fast this morning, and I expect after that it will be possible to get a victory, maybe if we arrive to continue like this. And after the midday we were second, but in the same second than Alain. So after first stage, you never know. So we continue to push, and Alain gets problems. So we get the puncture the first day. He gets problem today. It's race, but it was difficult until the end. Yeah.
Difficult until the end. Thrilling for us. Vuillet takes it ahead of Andrew Navarra, who won the first of the IRCs in Kenya. Great result for Garcia Ojeda. Anton Alain, well, thinking of what might have been perhaps off the podium, but in fourth place. A credit to him. Nursing it just a little bit too much. Maybe Dad's advice bore a bit heavily upon his shoulders. Vuillet and Peugeot victorious in Turkey. The standings then, Navarra and Abbas stay on top, combining this with their 10 points that they picked up for winning in Kenya. Vuillet, though, is challenging, so is Peugeot, and the Mitsus are in the frame as well. Great running, great atmosphere, terrific ambience. Cannot wait for Ypres next time out. The Intercontinental Rally Challenge, bringing real rallying into your homes. Eurosport following it live throughout the entire season. Hope to have you on board for next time out. I'm Carlton Kirby. Thanks for your company. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Take control of the IRC with BF Goodrich tires.
Let's meet Volkan.
Do you know this terrain as a Turkish driver? Did you already compete on this kind of roads?
This is completely new area. 2005 and 2006, 1 or 2 rallies we have done, and 50% our stages are new. We can say completely new rally for us.
Volkan was the first Turkish driver in history to score points in the WRC. He also raced on the track in 2002, won the Turkish F3 Championship. Last year he won the Super 16 class in the Turkish Rally Champs as well. And this year his main goal is the European Rally Championship on board the Grande Punte Abarth S2000. This Fiat Rally was quite unlucky for Volkan Izik, you have to say. He finished the opening leg in third, just 29 seconds down on the leaders. Then the second leg, he managed to move up to second overall, just 17 seconds down with only one stage to go. But he lost a wheel in the final stage and had to be towed back to the service park. This brought him a road penalty, which dropped him down to 6th overall. Final day for Volkan, 3-stage wins. He won 13, 17 and 18 in Turkey. He'll be back for sure. A great competitor, one to watch. What a combination, Volkan Izik and the Abarth Grande Punto S2000. Watch them all season on Eurosport.
Canon, taking fans beyond the pit wall.
Advan. Yokohama.
Speedy entertainment, presented by Courtyard by Marriott Hotels. With Munro suspension, safety and comfort.
After starting the season in Brazil 2 months ago, the World Touring Car Championship hits the European leg as it arrives at Zandvoort in the Netherlands for races 3 and 4, the famous seaside track, suffering from some unseasonably windy weather, meaning a lot of the sand dunes came to the drivers rather than the other way round. And with 2 members of the Dutch royal family racing in one of the support championships, there was plenty of celebrity interest, not least from the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, Jan-Peter Balkenende, also attending to cheer on Tom Coronel, the local hero.
I'm a fanatic talking about cars and motor racing. It is a really great event for the racetrack here on Zandvoort. Like it very much, and also I must say this championship is very interesting. It's really fascinating.
A refreshing change from the UK, where politicians seem to hate cars in any way, shape or form. Well, here's a great place to start a European Racing Championship. 4.3 kilometres of tight, twisty, undulating track through the sand dunes. Last used for an FIA World Championship race, the Dutch Grand Prix 1985, when Niki Lauda beat McLaren teammate Alain Prost in a 1-2. Well, it's been nearly 2 months since they raced at Curitiba in Brazil, and the circuit at Zandvoort is a very different one, and it's a first for a lot of the drivers.
Zandvoort is very high grip, there's a lot of sand, so the track is changing all the time, and there's a lot of long steady state corners that require the tyre to be really, really good all the time. It's a very, very difficult circuit because it's always changing.
Well, the world champion thinks it's a pretty impressive place. So too does local hero Tom Coronel. He won the Marlborough Masters in Formula 3 here in 1997.
Het is gewoon heel challenging.
Very challenging circuit, up and down all the time. It's got quick corners, got a hard braking and some good overtaking places. Touring cars here really are just the perfect size and speed for racing at Zandvoort. But who will fare better, the front-wheel drive cars or the rear-drive BMWs who dominated last time out in Brazil?
Well, I think this circuit actually will be quite similar for both vehicles because there's not so many curbs, which is good for the rear-wheel drive car, but also the front-wheel drive car, I think, will be able to maintain good corner speed, and it should help the car a lot. So there's not a lot of tight corners that require constant lock, tightening on the exit. So I think that the front-wheel drive cars will be competitive here as well.
Well, following BMW's domination in Curitiba, there have been some changes, and also following a come-together between Ivan Muller and one of his rivals as well. But the Frenchman says that having a 25-kilo weight reduction for the Seat might help a little, but I think probably the BMW have gained some success balance, which will help as well. But to be truly competitive, I think at the moment is still going to be tough. Well, the weight has been changed for this weekend only. The FIA deciding after Zandvoort whether to keep the weight as it is or to make some changes to further advantage some of the front-wheel drive cars. Qualifying was dry but windy, with a strong headwind down the long run up to the Tarzan corner at the end of the front straight. For BMW, the situation a little more difficult because the front-wheel drive cars had been looking very quick. BMW Motorsports Director Dr. Mario Tyson pleased with Augusto Farfus, the best of the BMWs. He said, "I expect good performance, good results here. Curitiba was exceptional. Circumstances have changed here, especially with the weight handicap after two of our drivers won in Curitiba. But the others are lighter. I think the grid will be a little closer here, perhaps. But we're always up for the fight." And Tyson was spot on. Chevrolet back after a Curitiba nightmare with just one driver in the points. Nicola Larini claimed second fastest on the grid, beaten by his teammate Alain Menu, who dominated practice and qualifying. At one stage in qualifying, he was over 0.6 of a second quicker than anyone, including Larini. It was only a last gasp effort by Larini that brought it down to 0.15 of a second, the gap first to second. But first to third was still a yawning margin. No wonder the Chevy drivers were looking happy. Their first ever front row lockout. And a good result too for rookie Thiago Monteiro, the fastest Seat driver, behind Luca Rangoni, whose BMW was the top independent car, an astonishing 4th overall. So what about Thiago Monteiro, the new boy in the championship? Thiago Monteiro comes to World Touring Cars fresh from 2 years with Jordan and Midland in Formula One. The 30-year-old from Portugal even claimed third in the US Grand Prix in 2005. Of course, that was the Bridgestone-only race, but hey, a podium is still a podium. So what does he bring from Formula One that he can use here, does he think? Well, what I've learned most in 2 years of Formula One racing is to be super aggressive in my driving. The speed and reflexes you build up in a Formula One car and the technical data that you're used to going through will all be very useful. But it's going to be very different in terms of what he's driving, of course, with something like a third of the horsepower, nearly twice the weight. It's going to be a very different proposition with a roof over his head and drive through the front wheels. It's going to be very difficult, he says. It's a totally different world. The cars have a less aerodynamic grip, they've got less power. The philosophy of driving them is utterly different from a rear-wheel drive single-seater, especially Formula One. He's not the first driver to come from single-seaters or Formula One to touring cars. There are many others. Nicola Larini, for instance, and Alex Zanardi, his teammate Gabriele Tarquini as well. Tarquini has plenty of advice to offer any touring car newcomer. Take care, he says. Be careful in the race, especially. It's easy to be quick in qualifying when you're on your own. In a race, you have to watch everybody else. There's always somebody ready to push you, to hit you, to push you off the corner. My advice, take care. The kind of problems that you don't have to worry about in Formula One are commonplace here. But he's learning quickly, faster than all his more experienced Seat teammates.
After the start in Sardinia, the Giro sweeps northwards. through the heart of Italy towards the distant mountains of the Alps. Follow the quest as the legend of the pink jersey continues. The Giro, every day at 1500, live on Eurosport.
Love your car. Try new Castrol Edge. It's our best oil yet.
It's more than just oil. It's liquid engineering. With Monroe suspension, safety and comfort.
Round 3 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship at Zandvoort. The first race, Sunday lunchtime. The wind blowing, but this time it's changed, coming off the North Sea and with a tailwind on the front straight. Championship led by Jörg Müller, Augusto Farfus and Andy Prio. Only Farfus in third on the grid had qualified well. His rivals didn't seem to be going too smartly either. With Chevrolet on the front two positions on the grid and a rolling start, the prospect for the first round of every race weekend this season, it certainly looked as though Chevrolet may well be able to claim their first win of the year. Nicola Larini, and on pole position, Alain Menu. The Swiss, of course, the first man to win for Chevrolet. He won the second race at Brands Hatch after taking 8th in the first in the wet conditions. Well, Menu starting from the right-hand side of the track, normally the dirty side, so a standing start would not be on that side of the track, but with the rolling start, it gives him the best run into the first corner. So further down on the grid, Andy Prio 8th, Jörg Müller only 11th, barely able to scrape into the top 10 at any stage in practice. Wholesale changes for qualifying didn't work, more wholesale changes for the race itself. And towards the back, newcomers from Russia, the 3 Russian Bears BMWs, the slowest of whom, Zelenov, was over 9 seconds off pole, but was still allowed to start the race. So Eduardo Freitas, the race director, lets them go. And the bow ties celebrating success, an old RML tradition. Ray Malek's team running the Chevrolet squad. Eric Nev, you saw there, Chevrolet's project manager with the bow tie. Celebrating pole. What more would they have to celebrate? As the safety car pulled off, Freitas went straight for the button, and immediately good starting from Farfus. But look at Montero by the pit wall, slips by the Brazilian. An astonishing first ever touring car start from Thiago Montero, puts him third inside Luca Rangoni from 5th position on the grid. And Farfus being pushed down. Tom Coronel did not qualify well. So much media attention. Right behind Jörg Müller, as off at the first corner, or the second corner, went Andy Prio. Ivan Müller had problems as well. In fact, it was Felix Portiero who had gone off. He'd been tapped off by Stefano D'Aste after Müller had run into the back of D'Aste's BMW. And Müller would creep back to the pits to try and get the car repaired for race 2. Alain Menu leading the pack then, chased by his teammate Farfus, smoking up the inside of Roberto Colciago, second in the independent category, and up until that stage he was 5th. Tarquini with Rob Huff, the only Chevrolet driver who didn't qualify especially well. And the Brits having a little tangle, obviously, on the opening lap. Tom Coronel trying to work his way up the order. Smoking BMW in front. He dives to the inside of James Thompson, can't quite squeeze through. And right with him is Jörg Müller in the Team Germany BMW. Menu making his escape. Larini with Rangoni. Then Thiago Montero ahead of Augusto Farfus, top BMW in 5th and looking for 4th. Couldn't quite make it through. Squeezing inside Tarquini. Andy Priaulx, the champion. Little touch between them there. Priaulx gets through. And that touch would be repaid later in race 2. Meanwhile, with Jörg Müller chasing Tom Coronel now and still trying to find a way past James Thompson. Coronel later trying down inside Thompson. Wasn't on, couldn't make it through, and broken suspension put him out.
While I was on his side, he just kept on steering into the side of my car. So it's just if somebody's next to you and he's winning, you should give him the win. And he was just, I think, a little bit frustrated, so he just kept on pushing against my car.
Well, not surprisingly, a couple of doors down the pit lane, different story.
At the end of the day, there's the evidence, and he didn't, he tried an ambitious manoeuvre, it didn't come off, and he went off. So he can blame who he wants.
Lap 7, the battle between Farfus and Montero still on for 4th place. Thiago Montero, don't forget, in his first ever touring car race. Farfus 3 seasons in since he was a single-seater star. The Brazilian looked to have got the upper hand. Montero was not giving up without a fight, though. For the meanwhile, Farfus up into 4th. Montero still the top Seat driver in 5th position. The next Seat was the independent Roberto Colciago. Jordi Genet tangling as Andy Priaulx got inside his wildly oversteering car. Tarquini went through as well. Genet losing 2 places with that one slide. Colciago's white and black car just ahead of Rob Huff as Huff goes off. Priaulx has a huge moment, loses a place to Tarquini as the Brit and his Chevrolet slam into the barriers. This a legacy of contact earlier on with Genet, a broken steering arm, the long-term result, and Priaulx nearly going off in avoidance. Safety car out for a single lap, and that means that the 2 Chevrolets had it all to do again. Alain Menu took a huge run through the final couple of corners, catching most behind him unawares at the restart. Colciago still ahead of Gabriele Tarquini. Colciago run by Seat Italy. Tarquini, one of the Seat Sport factory cars. And Farfus again behind Montero, got jumped at the restart by the Portuguese driver. Well, they share a language, different cars, though, for the Portuguese and the Brazilian, and they have had their share of 4th place. Having his share of the lead, though, and not intent on giving it to anyone, least of all his teammate Alain Menu. It's a 1-2 for Chevrolet. Chevrolet, their first ever in the FIA World Touring Car Championship. And Luca Rangoni sensationally 3rd and top independent, 4th for Thiago Montero. Well, a 1-2, a remarkable achievement for Chevrolet, and a huge grandstand full of their fans. They've been on hand to watch Huff go off and to celebrate the victory and 2nd position for Menu and Larini. Well, pole position and race 1 victory, perfect after he and Chevrolet failed to finish either race in Curitiba. So it's his 2nd World Touring Car win after Brands Hatch. Rangoni, top independent and 3rd. Montero, 4th in his first ever start. 5th for Farfus, the top BMW driver of the factory squads. And Priaulx gets 1 point behind Tarquini in 8th place. Plus, of course, pole for race 2. James Thompson, after his contact, down in 13th position. Jörg Müller just outside the points in 10th spot. 21 of the 24 starters made it through to the end. Coronel's car was repaired, so too was James Thompson's, and Rob Huff's would make the race 2 grid, but it was a race against time for the RML mechanics.
It's an amazing achievement from everybody at RML and Chevrolet. They've worked so hard all winter, and last year, okay, I won at Brands Hatch, but this time we were on pole position, so the car has now got the pace. I think this track is good for us, so it might be different in different tracks, but it's a great feeling, and I'm so happy for them. They really deserve it.
Yeah, great day today for Chevrolet, for our teams, for ourselves as well. We have done a great job, as Alan said, in the winter time. This is the result. So now we are looking forward, really confident.
So after race 3 of the series, Augusto Farfus, the standalone leader by 3 over Prio, 4 over Muller. Well, we see a lot of what happens on the track in the World Touring Car Championship, but today we're going to take a look behind the scenes at one of the team setups. Your guide, Mr. Robert Huff.
Hi, I'm Rob Huff, part of the Chevrolet team. We're here in Chevrolet Hospitality. As you can see, everyone's having lunch here, but I'm going to give you a sneak preview of what's behind the scenes in the hospitality for the drivers. So if you want to follow me. To start with, we have the press office. As you can see, plenty of photography cameras, computers set up to the internet where we do the press releases, the printers and all the audio equipment for the TVs out in the hospitality. So that's the room in here, nicely air-con, nice and cool. If we go next door, we've got the driver's changing room. It's a private little quiet room for us to come and have some obviously quiet time before the races, also to get changed. As you can see, we have the lockers with the racing overalls and the team Chevrolet wear, and just a nice chilled out room for us to come in, get some quiet time and relax before we go out on track. So moving on next door, we have a toilet and shower room. I won't be showing you that one because that's completely private and for drivers' use only, as you can see. We do a lot of debriefs in here, and again, generally, if we want to have some meetings with anyone from Chevrolet, we bring them into here. Again, it's nice and quiet, secluded, air-conditioned, and nice to chill out in. Obviously, the most important part of the driver's day is the food that we eat. And as you can see here, we have a fresh deli sandwich bar where the girls are busy making fresh sandwiches. And then just behind, we also have the coffee bar as well. But the most important bit is the pasta, which is cooked down the far end here. So if you want to follow me. Sorry, excuse me. There we go. Thank you. Obviously, anything we need is readily available, whether it be special dietary requirements or whether you just want a cheese and ham sandwich. The guys here, obviously the most important. Fresh as you like. It's a perfect end to a perfect day.
Well, with a sprinkling of drizzle in the North Sea wind before the start of race 2, Eduardo Freitas, the race director, taking no chances, declaring it a wet race, but nobody took wet weather tyres, everybody going on slicks. It was really just a light sprinkle. Again, a very quick change of the lights. Andy Prio on pole position, getting away ahead of Gabriele Tarquini, but Jörg Müller, the big man to gain, starting in 10th position, he would head into the first corner inside Roberto Colciago, looking for 5th. A great getaway from the BMW star. And behind him, the 2 race 1 stars were coming through the order fast. Alain Menu door to door with Thiago Monteiro. Well, watch Muller's car to the right of the picture, weaving through as the Chevrolet of Larini and Monteiro in the Seat almost get together. And by the end of the first lap, Jörg Müller in 5th position with Farfus 3rd and Prio leading. BMW looking a little stronger than in race 1 till this contact between Prio and Tarquini. Well, Prio had bumped his way past Tarquini in race 1. Gabriele returned the favour in race 2. Prio not only dropping to 2nd, but in fact down to 5th position behind championship rivals Tarquini, obviously, but also Farfus and Jörg Müller. Between them, Luca Rangoni's BMW. Rangoni again having a very strong race here after 3rd in race 1. Alain Menu had an oil warning light come on right at the beginning of the race, decided to try and make it through. Engine wasn't so keen. Long walk home.
En fait, j'ai eu pendant un tour l'alarme de
around lap 1, I had the oil light blinking, he says. I thought, well, I better continue, it's a race. But then the engine blew, so maybe I should have stopped. But in a race, you always try and keep going, no matter what the car says.
De tout couper finalement, mais bon, en course, on essaie d'aller au bout.
Jörg Müller still on the move. Luca Rangoni takes him a while to get by, but into 3rd position, right on the tail of teammate Augusto Farfus. The front-wheel drive cars had been worried about tyre wear. Would it become a factor later on? Well, meanwhile, Alex Zanardi rudely bumped aside by his own teammate Felix Portiero. With the BMWs stacking so much pressure on Tarquini, Mario Tyson must have been hoping for a win for the men from Bavaria. Prio up behind Rangoni, looking for 4th position. But right behind him, Nicola Larini trail breaking into the corner, showing intent and trying to pass. Prio running very wide indeed, leaving himself open to attack down the hill to the Audi S's. Trying to defend, he goes wide, but not wide enough. Larini is through. Larini with a good Chevrolet under him, the first race for the new 2007 spec cars, really having a great weekend. Having a charge now at Rangoni. Rangoni went wide, but again, not wide enough. Larini seemed able to make his Chevrolet do things that even the rear-drive BMWs couldn't. With its new aerodynamic package, its new intake for the engine, and a whole new suspension package as well, the Chevrolet is looking a very sorted racing car indeed in 2007, guys. Prio behind, slipping by with 2 to go to get past Rangoni, but Larini had already got by them both, so he was still in 5th position. And Tarquini was still out front, despite the 2 Schnitzer drivers, Farfus and Jörg Müller behind. They just couldn't unsettle him. Jaime Puig on the right-hand side of your picture, watching intently on the last lap to see if Gabrielli could hang on for Seat's first win of the season. And indeed he did. Farfus and Jörg Müller won in Brazil, Alain Menu won in Zandvoort, and now Gabriele Tarquini, making it 4 different winners from 4 different races. Top independent, again, Luca Rangoni, and again in 2nd place, Roberto Colciago in the independents, also getting main championship points ahead of Felix Porchero. But it's Tarquini, the man on top of the podium. And that's exactly the boost that Seat need as they head home to Spain in a fortnight's time to Valencia and races 5 and 6. Thiago Monteiro this time just out of the points, but still ahead of all the other Seat drivers, barring race winner Tarquini.
Yeah, it was very difficult, especially the last few laps. But my weekend was fantastic. After qualifying, I was 13, so far away. I was thinking about a disaster weekend, but I scored 2 points on the first race, take the lead after 2 laps, and it was a dream leading from the second lap to the end.
We saw this championship is quite tight, it's quite difficult. The drive level is very high, so it's important to score as more points as possible during the racing weekends. Now we go to Valencia with some handicap on board, but let's try to score some points again.
Well, obviously I had a very, very good start. I mean, Eduardo, our starter, was very fast with the lights, so they were on for probably a tenth of a second or something like this. And I think still in my old age, I have a quite good reaction, so I just reacted a little bit faster than the others.
Didn't he, though? Electrifying starting from Jörg Müller, like Tarquini, turning his weekend around in race 2. He goes to Valencia 6 points behind teammate Farfus. Tarquini tied for 3rd with Prio, ahead of Nicola Larini. What a weekend Larini had as well. Some big stories to write home about. Thiago Monteiro, Roberto Colciago, and of course the BMWs, the Seats and the Chevrolets all scoring strongly. Next time out, we're at Valencia in Spain. Last year, Seat claimed pole position courtesy of Jordi Genet, but he was not able to win the race. BMW were much stronger last year after 3 years of front-wheel drive battering. How will it go in 2007? Well, the city is currently hosting the Challengers races of the America's Cup, so there is going to be plenty of action all race weekend.